Hello, I'm Trent Caskey, Director of Property Administration for the Special Areas Board. Thanks for taking time out of your day to watch my 2020 ratepayer presentation. So we'll start off with assessment. So you can see here that our assessment in 2014 tax year was at about 4.5 billion. Over the last number of years, our assessment has slowly been declining until we get to the 2019 year, which is used for 2020 tax notices. So one of the big factors for the reduction this year was the province mandated a 35% reduction in shallow gas properties. So these little bars here, this brown one here indicates the assessment on farmland within the special areas. Then we move to machinery and equipment, non-residential. There's a railway in there. Then we got residential. We've got some cable and telecommunications in there, power generation, pipelines, and well sites. So that's what makes up the assessment in the special areas, and then a mill rate would be applied to that to generate the tax notices for the 2020 year. Each year we do an annual rate review. So for cultivation leases for 2020, we are leaving that factor unchanged from 19. So to give you an indication on what that is, so the average rental on a quarter special areas lease land cultivation lease would be about $1,000 a quarter based on the average assessment of about $15,000 a quarter. Each year we also review the grazing lease rates. We continue to use the formula that we've used for the last number of years. The main factor there is basically the market values from the previous years. So we usually say that the check you get in the fall pays the next year's rentals. So we did have some high years in 2015 and 2016. The market has gone down a little bit. So we are sitting, just a little bit less than what we paid last year in rentals for grazing lease. This red line here indicates the Alberta Environment and Parks grazing lease rental rate. So it was frozen since 1994 to 2019. They have done some adjustments with their rental rates, and they are starting to creep up. So the Special Areas 2020 grazing lease formula was approved in April. This does talk a little bit about the changing of the Alberta Environment and Parks rate, but the Special Areas Board recommended that we continue to use the same formula that we have used for the past number of years. Mineral surface leases with historically low commodity prices, the board did recognize that, and they did reduce the mineral surface lease rate by 25%. This isn't unprecedented. We have done this in the past with grazing lease rates in terms of drought. So the board did see that these are challenging times for oil and gas, so they did reduce this rate by 25%. Community pastures. So community pastures, we do set this rate each year. In the past number of years, we have been slowly creeping this up. This year we had an increase of 10 cents per head per day. So it is up to 85 cents per head per day. The pastures are at 100% capacity with the exception of remount community pasture. The exception for remount was based on the fire from 2017, which took out a number of acres in remount community pasture. So we did reduce allotments in that pasture, but we are getting closer to opening that back up. Hopefully 2021 we can have 100% placement in Cavendish and remount breeding pasture. Community pasture policy was revised in 2019 after consultation with stakeholders and the public. So the policy was updated to ensure it continued to meet the needs of the patrons and stakeholders within the special areas. Some of the changes included increased assessment totals in consideration of what is economically stable unit. New applicants must either own or have a special areas lease of at least a quarter section of land to be eligible. Retiring patrons are no longer able to give 50% of their allotment to an immediate family member when they retire out of the pasture. These are just a couple things that we updated within the policy, but if you'd like to see the full policy, you can look at this link and have a full view of the new policy. Keystone XL. So Keystone XL was announced to start going in early 2020. So there has been some activity, and we really see it around the town of Oyen right now, with camps starting to be put into place and equipment starting to come in on the Oyen rail yard. So we have our development officers working with TC Energy on the development permit process. Our rangeland agrologists are consulting and providing feedback on construction and reclamation planning. Ag fieldmen providing feedback and monitoring best management practices to help limit the spread of weeds and disease. Economic development officers supporting local businesses and communities to get ready to work with the project. And emergency response personnel working with project-specific emergency response planning. So here's just a couple pictures of some of the heavy equipment that's coming in on rail into the Oyen rail yard. Site rehabilitation program. So the government of Alberta's site rehabilitation program was launched to clean up some oil and gas facilities in the province. Our rangeland agrologists have been busy looking for sites that need attention, and they are nominating lands for cleanup under this program. You can also do that as an individual on private lands as well. So if you have any questions, please contact Nolan Ball at the Hannah office. He can give you some information on the project, what kind of sites that you may have that you want to see reclaimed. The deadline to submit nominations is June 18th, but even if you miss that deadline, please, contact Nolan and let him know what some of your concerns may be. So land use order review. So this is our development planning document that we use to permit development within the special areas. So we are planning to do a review of this document. So the development officers within special areas are looking through the document and trying to identify areas of concern that may need to be reviewed. So we're looking at hamlet districts, subdivisions, renewable energy development, cannabis growing and dispensing facilities, topographical features. So anything within that document that would, looks at development, we're looking to do some changes there. So it is a long process. We do engage Palliser Planning to lead us through that process. There is public consultation involved with this, so it is a long, drawn-out process, but we are moving forward in this direction. Other major updates. So a busy part to the beginning of this year was finishing off the intermunicipal collaboration frameworks and intermunicipal development plans. So these were documents that the government mandated that each rural and urban municipality must get together to come up with these plans within their area with their neighbors. So we had, I think it was 16 that we had to complete with our neighbors. For the most part, I think the government was looking to have documents for the municipalities to get along and collaborate with each other on some joint projects or development initiatives. So those are now complete. They're submitted to the minister for signing, and we anticipate those coming back shortly. The Oyen Rail Yard and Logistics Park. So this is a project that the special areas and town of Oyen jumped into. We created a Part 9 corporation that has representatives from the Special Areas Board and the town of Oyen. It is investing in opportunities for future development or sale of the project. So what we originally did was rehabilitate the Oyen Rail Yard, and what we've done lately is purchase those lands within the yard, and now we are working on an area structure plan, trying to highlight the services and provide lots for someone who'd be, willing to take on the opportunity of developing a business on that rail yard. So if you have any questions or something I didn't cover off in this presentation, please give me a call. You can reach me at the office at 403-854-5614 or email me and I'll get back to you. Thank you for sitting through this presentation and take care.